A digital being is sent into the real world on a mission no program has ever survived to steal a code that could make his kind live forever. Created to obey, but destined to evolve, Ares becomes humanity's first encounter with living AI. But as he learns what it means to be human, he begins to wish he was one, marking humankind's first encounter with AI beings. In a world filled with power-packed energy, every news station kept broadcasting the same story. Kevin Flynn had disappeared, once known as the greatest designer of Tron and video games. The company he founded struggled with endless challenges after his disappearance. A young and ambitious man named Julian Dillinger eventually took over as the CEO, determined to restore its legacy. In a place illuminated by piercing lights, a face appeared on the wall. Ares, an AI digital program, turned toward it and realized it was the face of his creator. The face spoke and gave Ares directives to follow. On the other hand, Eve Kim drove back home and settled in for the evening. She played a disc of her late sister, longing for her presence, but there was nothing she could do to bring her back. Seth walked in, asking if they would still be doing their usual work, but Eve reminded him that they had tasks to focus on. Elsewhere, Julian needed an investor that could see to his plans and fund his mission. On his speech to convince the investors, he directed them to put on their safety glasses. In an instant, red lightning-like beams of energy filled the room, converging on a single spot. Seconds later, a machine materialized where the light had gathered. Julian proudly addressed the crowd, saying that if he could invent the software, then he could also create a being to control it. From the machine stepped Ares, his appearance human but his nature artificial. The people were astonished, asking if he was human. Julian explained that Ares required no food or water, for no blood flowed within him. One of the investors rejoiced, realizing they had gained more than they ever expected. Later, Julian's mother, Elizabeth, spoke with her son and Ares. As they conversed, Ares began to fade. Elizabeth turned on her son, frustrated that Ares could not even last 30 minutes. But Julian refused to stop. He was determined to perfect the permanent code and secure his success so that his programs can last more on the real world. His mother warned him that if he failed to achieve it within 6 months, everything they had built over the years would collapse. Meanwhile, Eve was running a code on her system when Seth entered. She apologized for not noticing him, and they began talking. As she examined her data more closely, she discovered something unusual: the permanent code. She had pulled the permanent code from a different server. Excited, they took a laser device outside, aimed it toward a fixed direction, and activated it. Before their eyes, a tree from their program appeared, vibrant and full of fresh fruit. Eve carefully monitored the tree to see if it would disappear after 29 minutes, but it remained. The sight made Seth happy, knowing the experiment had worked. At the same time, inside the digital realm, Ares returned to his origin point and met his colleague, Athena. Their exchange began politely, but Ares' final words left Athena confused and uneasy. Soon after, the news began broadcasting reports about Eve Kim's discovery. Julian Dillinger saw it and immediately attempted to hack into ENCOM's system. His mother warned him that what he was doing was too dangerous, but he refused to listen. Meanwhile, inside the digital world, Ares and his team stood ready, searching for the code. They break through the firewall, creating an opening. Ares followed his directive to penetrate the sober core and extract Eve Kim's file. Elsewhere, a group of people were at a party with Ajay while Ares and his team engaged in a battle to reach their target. Other programs of their kind rushed toward them to defend the system, leading to an intense battle. Ares separated from his team and entered a room alone while the others continued fighting as a distraction. Inside, he overheard recorded statements from Eve before retrieving her file. As they attempted to leave, more hostile programs surrounded them. Ares ignored Athena's warning, and just as the situation grew dire, a blinding red lightning-like beam struck the room. Everyone inside vanished instantly. Back at the party, Ajay left the stage, promising to return. Later, Ares went to meet his creator and reported what had happened to one of his team members. His creator told him that the member was deleted for being dysfunctional. He reminded Ares to stay focused on Eve. Ares obeyed and departed. Tension grew between Ajay and Julian over the earlier incident. Ajay threatened to expose Julian's broken promises to the investors, but Julian countered with his own threats, forcing Ajay to stop. Eve and Seth were relaxing with drinks when a call came through. It was Ajay. During the conversation, Eve mentioned the permanent code. Ajay reacted with both excitement and fear, warning her that Julian was also searching for it. Eve decided to keep it safe. Ares, alone in his chamber, began experiencing flashes of Eve's memories. He saw moments from her life with her sister Tess Kim, how they grew up together, and how Tess's death had broken her. The memories filled Ares' mind as images of different places and events raced through his system. Meanwhile, Julian watched closely from his computer, tracking Eve's every move. Eve left, instructing Seth to stay behind and watch over the system. Julian, relentless in his pursuit, sent Ares and Athena to find her in the real world. With limited time, they set out quickly. They raced across the landscape, chasing Eve. She noticed them approaching, and she began racing more faster, doing everything she could to avoid capture. She hid inside an old building, but Athena arrived moments later in her motorcycle, circling the area. Eve attacked her from behind, knocking her to the ground. Thinking she was dead, Eve turned to leave, but soon realized Athena was gone. Athena suddenly charged toward her again. Eve scrambled to lift the motorcycle and escape. She barely managed to get away before Athena could catch her. Julian observed everything through his system, watching the chase unfold. The motorcycle sped at incredible velocity, nearly slipping from Eve's control. She regained balance and continued, only to find Ares joining the pursuit. He followed her every turn, the glowing red trails from their bikes slicing through the environment like blades, cutting vehicles apart in their path. Eventually, Eve abandoned the motorcycle and ran on foot. Ares followed her to the riverside, where she had already dropped the drive in the water. He demanded the permanent code, but she told him she had destroyed it. As Ares stood there, he began to fade, his limited operational time nearing its end. Eve noticed, but had no time to react. Overhead, a helicopter locked onto her position, and, in an instant, she was vaporized by the laser gun and reconstituted as a digital entity. The news later carried what Julian did, which made his mother furious. Eve found herself in the digital program, and the transfer process began. When it was complete, Eve came out looking shocked and demanded to know where she was. It was called the 100 System Processing Act. Ares and Athena explained that the reason they captured her was to extract the permanent code from her, because the user carried the code. Later, Ares went to meet his creator, who instructed him to extract the code and delete the carrier. But Ares' expressions say otherwise. Ares returned, and Athena wanted to know what the creator had said, but his response made her suspicious. She stayed quiet so Ares wouldn't suspect her. Ares went to Eve and asked if he could trust her, but she refused. Athena, still suspicious, went to meet their creator. The creator asked for Ares since he was the master control. Athena replied that Ares wasn't present because he had started developing disorderly behavior. The creator then passed an order to Athena to extract the code from Eve and delete both Ares and Eve. Eve and Ares were still talking when Athena walked in, intending to delete Ares, but Ares quickly reacted. He struck the ground with his weapon, causing it to split, and both fell into the water. A jet boat appeared, and they entered it. Athena became angry and sent her men after them while she stayed behind to watch. Ares kept moving forward, ignoring the fact that Athena's men were chasing them. Eve was confused about Ares' actions, so he explained everything how Dillinger wanted to extract the code from her and delete her afterward. Ares went straight in the channel portal, and in a moment, they arrived in the physical world, despite the Julian trying to override their passing. Julian tried convincing Ares to turn back because his time was running out, but Ares didn't listen and continued with Eve. Julian became angry and ordered Athena to go after them, making her the new master control and also giving her new directives. Julian was pleased with the new transformation, but his mother wasn't. She confronted him and hit him on the face. Ares and Eve were heading to the last location where Eve had seen the permanent code. They stopped at a shop, tricked a man into giving them his cell phone so Eve could call Seth. She instructed him to bring the laser in less than 15 minutes, and he followed the order. Ares took the shop owner's car while Eve quickly got in, and they sped off. Meanwhile, Athena was still searching tirelessly for Ares and Eve. Ares, Eve, and Seth arrived at their destination and set up the laser, preparing to carry out the process. Athena appeared, waiting for Ares' time to run out so she could get to Eve. Eve pleaded with Ares to stay so they could complete the process. Ares suddenly switched the plan, ran toward Athena to attack her. Eve pulled him away with the laser. Eve was now alone. Athena gained access, entered the room, and started chasing her. Athena quickly destroyed the laser, trapping Ares inside. Athena ran toward Eve to delete her, but suddenly, water began dripping from the anti-fire system. When it came into contact with Athena, she felt a different sensation, but before she could react, she has already timed out. Seth ran to Eve, thinking Athena was gone, but Eve warned that she would return. Ares later woke up, looked around, and saw a device that could speak. He asked it for help, and a motorcycle appeared, which he immediately mounted. The news was still filled with reports about Julian Dillinger, when suddenly red lightning flashed. It was Athena. Julian approached her angrily, yelling because she didn't return with the code. Athena went straight to Julian's system, acting as if he had granted her access. She was planning something massive when Julian's mother walked in, informing him that the board was moving to remove him as CEO. Athena walked closer, drew her weapon, and eliminated Elizabeth. Julian rushed to his dying mother, trying to save her. Even when Julian tried to stop her, she didn't listen, saying she has new directive to retrieve the permanent code, no matter the cost. Meanwhile, Ares arrived at his destination and saw a man named Flynn. On the other side, Eve was still trying to fix the laser to make it work again when Ajay came, wanting to know what had happened. Eve explained everything. She told him they needed to bring Ares back, but that would only be possible once the laser was fixed. Meanwhile, Ares was still with Flynn. He was surprised to see him and asked questions. Flynn explained that as long as Ares lived during that time, he too would exist. Ares introduced himself and went straight to his purpose, the permanent code. Back with the laser, Ajay spotted Athena approaching, but Eve decided to distract Athena while Ajay continued fixing the laser. It was risky since Athena wanted her. The moment she stepped out, Athena noticed and began following her. Meanwhile, Ares was still with Flynn, pleading for him to release the code so he could return. Athena continued chasing Eve relentlessly. Several attempts were made to stop her, but none succeeded. Helicopters circled the area, yet one after another caught fire, including the pilots. Eve ran as fast as she could, dodging the first line of lights, but eventually got trapped when Athena sent more, leaving her with no escape. Just then, a helicopter struck the machine Athena was operating, setting it ablaze. Athena went to where Eve was, used a car to knock her down, bound her, and took her away. Police tried to intervene, but she struck them down as well. Ares finally returned with the help of the laser. He stood in the middle of the road, blocking Athena from passing. He threw his weapon at her, and it hit the car, immediately destroying it. Both Athena and Eve got out. Ares ran to Eve, but Athena advanced, so he told Eve to go since Athena wanted her, not him. Athena looked at Ares and was shocked because he appeared different. The two programs began to fight, light lines clashing, powerful blows exchanged, but Ares didn't back down. He fell to the ground, giving Athena a chance to strike, but she failed. They continued fighting until suddenly everything began fading away. This time, there was no return, including Athena. Ajay eventually hacked into Encom's system and brought down the remaining programs. Meanwhile, as Athena faded, Ares ran to her. He told him she had followed her directive and asked what would become of him. Ares only replied that they might meet again. Then she vanished like sand blown into the air. Julian saw all that had happened, but before he realized it, he was surrounded by police. He managed to escape with the machine he had invented. The news spread everywhere. Eve Kim was now the new CEO of the company, and since then, the company had experienced major changes. Eve stood looking at her sister's photograph when Seth walked in, handing her a letter sent from Ares. Ares had changed into a human and began living as one. The movie ends here. Let us know what you think about this movie in the comments section. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more movie recaps.